What's the most badass film you've ever seen? You're probably thinking in your head Die Hard, a James Bond movie, maybe some hardcore Korean film. I know what you're saying. Maybe some anime like Akira. But, guess what, bro? Uh, None of those even cut it. You know what the badass movie of all time is? Point fucking Break. Catherine Bigelow's 1991 masterpiece. And I say masterpiece completely seriously. Catherine Bigelow had been making a name for herself. She was married to James Cameron, and she directed the film Near Dark, which is a terrific vampire film from the 80s. And she had directed some other films and was shown to be quite the technical director. So she got a decent budget in the 90s, and young Keanu Reeves and a then famous Patrick Swayze, and very alive Patrick Swayze. That joke was a little dark, I'm sorry. And basically, Point Break is an adrenaline rush to your balls. It's really just makes your balls gigantic until they explode from pure manliness. It's ridiculous. Johnny Utah's a college quarterback that's a cop now. He goes undercover to stop a group of surfers that are bank robbers, but they're really cool guys that just want to be free. This plot was basically remade into Fast and the Furious, which became a hit franchise. So this shows you a couple things. One, Point Break was onto something way before it even became like a cultural thing. Like, the cool factor that people like about Point Break is now everywhere. Catherine Bigelow found it early on, and she's a very clever filmmaker. This isn't just a stupid, dumb B action film. It's intentionally a stupid, dumb B action film. It's meant to be that way. This is like Paul Verhoeven or something. And I think some of this stuff is John Woo level. Because really, you got to think about how ridiculous so many scenes in something like Hard Boiled are, but they get away with it because of the universe that is set up by John Woo. Same thing with Catherine Bigelow. Now, she's the critically acclaimed director who's made The Hurt Locker now and Zero Dark 30. But you go back here and you see a lot of the same technical ability. She has a craftsmanship and a cleverness that's really underrated. And in some ways, I say she's even smarter than James Cameron when it comes to some of these things. Even though James Cameron, I think, is probably the better overall director, Catherine Bigelow, if you go and watch her films, I think the tone of each one of them is exactly the right tone for the movie she's making. And I think she goes out of her way to work on that. Anyway, we're here to talk about one moment in particular, though. When Johnny Utah kicks the fucking dog. This scene I've thought about forever. I first became aware of this years ago in that famous YouTube video, which, I'm going to show here. And basically, there's a very intense chase scene in Point Break where Johnny's chasing Patrick Swayze wearing a mask, and they're running through all these, like, narrow neighborhoods and stuff and through these streets and shit. Awesome chase scene, the way it's cut, edited. Keanu's a very good physical actor, as we know, because, The Matrix and John Wick. So there's a point that Brody, Patrick Swayze's character, picks up a pit bull and throws it at Keanu Reeves' character. Keanu Reeves' character then catches the dog, and instead of laying it down or something, which, he just got a dog thrown at him, so I'm sure there's a moment of shock, he's so pumped up in this fucking movie. This movie is just pure manliness. I mean, it's just pure macho bravado. There's a scene legitimately where everybody jumps out of an airplane with parachutes, and Keanu Reeves, who does not have a parachute, is in the plane, decides to jump out with a gun just so he can catch Patrick Swayze. No shoot. Like, imagine if he missed him and just fell all the way down. What's he thinking that last, 50 feet, or when he's about to hit the ground? He's like, oh, I fucked up. Jesus. He yells out, fuck it, while he does it. That's the kind of movie we're watching, people. That's the brilliance of Catherine Bigelow's Point Break. So here's the thing. When he gets the dog and catches it, he punts the dog. Like, he punts it over a fence, and then the dog goes like, roar, and, goes over the thing. It's amazing. Here's why this is amazing. That means that they were on the set of this movie, and they were filming a really intense chase sequence. Maybe, the big point, turning point in the film, and somebody on the set was like, we should have Keanu kick a dog. Now, I don't know if it was Keanu Reeves. I don't know if it was in the original script, which I hope it was in the original script, but I'm not going to hold on that. I think some of it had to be Catherine Bigelow or something like that, because Point Break has a sense of humor. It does have a sense of humor. She knows what this is, and yet it still has badass action. And one of the coolest endings ever. It's got the Dirty Harry of the 90s ending, but with the great Keanu. But besides the awesome soundtrack, tons of great dialogue, cameos, action scenes, awesome photography, kind of an improvement over some of the stuff I think Tony Scott was trying to do in Top Gun and the movies he was doing with Tom Cruise and stuff. I think this was a lot more fun than Top Gun, with the same kind of mindset. The thing about kicking the dog is that you just got to think about this. Like, what if Keanu's mom visited the set? She's like, "Hey, what are you doing today, honey?" "Oh, I kicked a dog." "What?" "Well, yeah, I'm like in this movie where like I'm like a quarterback who's a cop, and I go meet these surfers, and this guy throws a dog at me, and I kick it out of the way." That's amazing. Holy shit. This woman who directed this went on to win a fucking Academy Award. I mean, could you imagine? She should have said something about it, like, "I'd like to thank the people who made the prosthetic dog that I had Keanu Reeves kick in Point Break, my 1991 film that I still think is my best work." But that just proves my point to me, the point that I'm making about Catherine Bigelow, that this film's so great because it knows what it is. Because why the fuck is that in there? You know this is a lot of smart people. They know what they're making. They thought it was funny. They thought it would be fucking funny to have Keanu kick that dog for like 2 seconds, and it's hilarious. It's awesome. Because Johnny Utah is such a badass. He's so pumped up in this moment, he can't think rationally. So when he gets a dog thrown, he's going to fucking kick. They might as well made it a baby. He could have had a baby thrown at him, and he would have kicked the baby out. This was the original Kick the Baby before South Park did it. It was just with the dog. It was Kick the Dog. It's cruel and hilarious at the same time, and I absolutely love it. It's one of the greatest things that's ever happened in movie history. You know, Keanu Reeves will have The Matrix and Speed and Bill and Ted and all these classic films, but he'll never top that moment. That moment which maybe he even improvised. Maybe that was one of those like actory moments. He's like, "Catherine, I can't relate to the character unless I confront this dog he throws at me. Like, him throwing the dog at me metaphorically means he's throwing all the weight of my insecurity at me, and I have to kick it away. I have to kick away him wanting me to, like, be aggressive, being this guy he wants me to be." Which is just emphasized later when he shoots the gun up in the air. You know, Johnny's fighting his violent nature. Film analysis of Point Break, the most deep film ever. Criterion release coming later in the year. But how did this happen? This film was written by W. Peter Liff. It was directed by Bigelow. It was produced by 20th Century Fox. It made actually pretty decent money. It made $83 million worldwide on a $24 million budget. It became a huge film on video, cult classic. But I just gotta know, where did this dog thing come from? This mystery it's amazing because it's only like a shot in the movie. It's so fast you have to pick it up. I didn't notice it for years, and then I can't not see it now. It's amazing, but it's just, I don't know why is that in there, and I have to think it's just in there for the comedy aspects. But it's one of those great little moments in films. It's one of those little Easter eggs that we have to decipher. Maybe maybe in every Catherine Bigelow film there's somebody kicking a dog and we just don't know it yet. I need to go back and watch Zero Dark 30 and see, like, when they go kill Bin Laden, if someone kicks a dog. Very possible. You gotta double back and look at this shit again. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. What's your favorite Keanu Reeves movie? Do you like Point Break? And what do you think about the dog punt? And obviously it wasn't a real dog, so don't come in here and be like, "Oh, he kicked a dog." He didn't kick a real fucking dog, obviously. So it's not like there was any animal cruelty, but it's still an awkward moment in an otherwise pretty serious sequence in the movie. Like, it's that one moment of like, huh, he just punted a dog. Amazing. And this is why Point Break is a masterpiece.